One of my favorite Bible characters is a guy by the name of Joshua. Joshua was the one that God selected to lead the nation of Israel into the Promised Land. He was selected by God to follow Moses. Think about that. The greatest leader the nation of Israel had ever known was Moses. He led the nation right up to the very edge of the Promised Land. And then his time had ended. And so God selected Joshua to lead perhaps 3 million people into the Promised Land. I can't wait to get to heaven to meet Joshua. I just kind of wonder what he looks like. The Bible depicts for us a man of character, a man who trusted God, a man who handled himself real well under pressure. There's something really interesting that takes place in Joshua chapter 4. And I want to read a few verses to you, make a few comments to you. Joshua chapter 4, beginning verse 1. Now when all the nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, Take for yourselves 12 men from the people, 1 man from each tribe, and command them, saying, Take up for yourselves 12 stones from here out of the middle of the Jordan, from the place where the priest's feet were standing firm, and carry them over with you. Lay them down in the lodging place where you will lodge tonight. So Joshua called the 12 men whom he had appointed from the sons of Israel, 1 man from each tribe. Joshua said to them, Cross again to the ark of the Lord your God in the middle of the Jordan, and each of you take up a stone on his shoulder according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Israel. Let this be a sign among you, so that when your children ask later, saying, What do these stones mean to you? Then you shall say to them, Because the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, when it crossed the Jordan. The waters of the Jordan were cut off, so these stones shall become a memorial to the sons of Israel forever. What grabs me in that passage is not the fact that 12 men went, picked up stones, and brought them back. But what really grabs me is when your children ask, what do they mean? And Joshua says they are a memorial for what God did. I think about that passage. I think about what took place there. And I ask myself, if my kids were to ask me about life, about how I lived life, about who God was to me, would I have stones that pointed to God and who God was in my life? You see, there's some things we can pick up from this story. A.W. Pink, a preacher from years ago, said this is a sermon in stone. What does it mean? What do these stones mean? Well, first of all, it points to God's power, that God is omnipotent, and God's power brought them through. It speaks about God's sovereignty, that God is in control, that nothing takes God by surprise, that God always lives in the eternal present. There is no past, present, future with God. He sees all of it, and He sees what's going on right now in our world. But it also points to God's faithfulness, and that really speaks to my heart. I hope that my memorial stones, whatever they may look like, whatever they are, to my family, that there'll be a testimony of God's faithfulness to Tom and Paula Williams. There's a verse that points to the purpose of all of this. It's found in verse 24. And here's what it says. So that all the peoples of the earth may know that the hand of the Lord is mighty, so that you may fear the Lord your God forever. We as parents need to be carrying stones memorial stones, foundational stones, things that are essential in our life, values and standards, faithfulness that we can pass on to our children so that they will know that the God that we love and the God that we serve and the God that we trust in is a God of power. He's a God that is sovereign in all that happens, but more than anything, He's a God that is faithful, that we might show to our family and leave a legacy to our children and grandchildren that God is a faithful God. God bless you.